ụlọ nsọ gị Chukwu ka anyị na-abata, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Anya bịawa ịsọpụrụ gị ugbu a, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Chukwu nna n'ụlọ gị ka anyị na-akpọ gị, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Otito na-adịrị gị mgbe niile, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike. Bịa o bịakwute ya, bịa o bịakwute ya, bịakwute ya bịa zuru ike.
Good morning and day one, long life to all of you. That is what I hope and pray for each and every one of you gathered here today. I'm Okebdibia Dr. Wanyo Hosimiri, and I'm your host for Chism Live. It's my pleasure to welcome you. Day one. We have two absences today. Dibia Chedozie in Nigeria has a commitment and he's kind of stuck there today. And Dibia UD is, he may still join us, but he's out in Alabama at his son's football game. So until he joins me, it's going to be you and I. How are you doing? That you are here. Isn't it wonderful to be walking amongst the living, to have breath, when many people have gone? Many people are not here today. We are actually, we're the lucky ones to be having breath, to be walking amongst the living, 6 feet above ground. That is a wonderful thing. You know, this morning I took a long walk, as I do sometimes. I'll take a walk and just to be with nature. For some of you who think that being with others is just the only way to experience Chineke, it's not. It's not, well, being with other people is a way to experience Chineke, but there's another way, and that is to be with nature. So today I took a long walk in the early morning to be with nature, because for me, sometimes I just need to reach out to nature to find my center. You know what it is to find your center? That's that time that to find your center is to be devoid momentarily from challenges, from the reality of the world. I mean, the cruelty of the world, or whatever the challenges are. That's how you find your center. That's how you're able to remove all kinds of things from your consciousness. And that gives you an opportunity to just be. There's nothing more powerful than the opportunity to just be, without having to be defined by anyone or waiting for approval for anything. It's just you and the Creator, you and Mother Nature. And so I took my walk today. As I walked, I became conscious that somewhere in the heart of Africa, because when I take these walks, I try to connect back home. The spirit of the ancestors whispers through the winds. You just pause and just listen. Of course, it's all imaginary. The mind is an imaginary place where you can conceive and conjure up things. that either excite you or tone you down, make you feel better. So nature is alive, my dear brothers and sisters, with stories, and every tree, river, and mountain holds wisdom. So today, when I was walking, I had to embrace it. I had to embrace the rhythm of the earth. You know, as you're walking, you can hear you walk, and the air. It's almost like earth is moving with you, and acquiescing with your walk, with your movement. And I could hear the beats of the drum of the past guiding my heart. As the sun rises today, ladies and gentlemen, remember something. Remember that each day is a gift. I think we forget that. Each day is a gift. It's a chance to connect with your roots, with who you are, and honor the lineage that brought you forward. You just didn't drop out of anywhere. You came from a long line of successful human beings. Some struggled, some made it, but you came from a long line of human beings. I like to claim successful human beings because, for my part, I feel that my long line, my lineage are successful people. And you want to stand tall like the baobab tree, deeply rooted in love, strength, and resilience. You know, once you begin to find your center, a moment to just be, you start to envision things that sometimes you take for granted or sometimes don't even exist, but they come to your mind. I ask you this day, as I did this morning, may you walk in harmony with all living beings, finding peace in the stillness and joy in the journey. It's not a journey. That's all we are. Everything we're doing is just we're taking a journey. We're on a path to somewhere. You know, the thing is that one thing about life, you never get there. You're always on a journey. Let the spirit of Idinotu, we live as one, remind you of the interconnectedness of life. You're not here by yourself. You're not here alone. You're always connected with something, with someone, the Holy Spirit. And I want to remind you of that interconnectedness of life today. I want you to carry this spirit with you today and always, because it's so important based on the discussion today. Today, I'm talking about the issue of gun violence, not just in America, but everywhere. It is very complex, very multifaceted. I don't have the answers. I just don't understand why humanity is so cruel to each other. I don't understand why humanity sees the need to use something that ends life, to justify it. Somehow, somebody wants to justify the reason why they are using a gun to kill, to maim, to dehumanize. See, it's when you take somebody's life, they're not human anymore to you. When you intentionally take a life, you don't see that life as human. You don't think that life as important. You just take that life because you can, because you have the gun, because somehow you've been convinced that using a gun is power. It's not power. You know, guns are supposed to be used for hunting, yes, not for fun. I don't believe that hunting an animal that you're not going to eat is a good thing. But if you're going to hunt for food, that's one thing. But to use a gun to kill, to take human life, that is the tragedy that we're living in right now. You know, I just want to share with you some statistics that are quite frightening, very frightening. Um, Most of us take this for granted. You know, sometimes we hear about it. We hear about a shooting here, a shooting there, and we kind of block it off. It doesn't mean anything because it didn't happen to us. But those people that it happened to never thought it would happen to them. But it did happen. It did happen. And so we must be very cognizant that there for the grace of Chineke. And then you ask yourself, why you? Why are you the lucky one? Why are you alive? Why did Chineke allow the other people to die? I can never explain that. But one thing I know for a fact is that nobody is immune to the possibility of becoming a victim of gun violence. Nobody is immune to it. Today you may be immune, but maybe not tomorrow. So you always have to be concerned about gun violence because it's here in America, it's there all over the world. People have stopped valuing. They go to church, we praise, we clap, we stomp, we call upon God in whatever name we have for God, or Chineke, or whatever. But then those who do that and still go back into the society, into the community, and kill, it tells you that this whole notion that I believe in God, for many people, is just talk. Anybody who believes in the Most High will not do that, will not actually leave their home to take somebody's life, or you just decide, I'm going to this church and I'm just going to kill. I'm going to this school. There's something missing mentally. Society has got to rethink what it's teaching its children, because a lot of the people who are committing these crimes are kids. Young people are out here killing, taking lives. You know, there's an African proverb that says, if you're not chop off, what you seek, so shall you find. What are you seeking when you go out to kill? If you take somebody's life, how in the world do you think that you will not pay a price for that? You might not pay a price, you may escape and not go to prison, but you can have eternal torment, mental torment for doing that. If you're not chop off, you should always seek good, not just for other people, but for yourself, because you cannot escape evil. The evil that you do will follow you. I don't care if you escape to the mountains and nobody knows where you are. That evil will follow you. It doesn't go away just because nobody saw you. You know, we say, Monachiso, I am one with Chineke. And then somebody will say, well, if Chineke was there, how did this happen? Because we have the right. We have been given the gift of thought, of thinking, decision making. If Chineke made all the decisions for us, then why would we say that we have a consciousness, that we are able to think? There's no point in thinking if Chineke makes all the decisions. That is a skill, that's a gift given to us. What we do with it is where a lot of us are having problems. A lot of us are having problems. Killing. Let me give you the statistics. I just want to give you the statistics. That it has not been compiled for September. But let me just use the United States. Now, let's be clear. This is not just happening in the United States. This is all over the world. All over the world, where humanity have lost the sense of responsibility towards his fellow man. We have lost that sense of responsibility. What we have to ask ourselves, what has made it so that we don't even consider a fellow human being's life worthy of sustaining? Instead, we don't mind going and killing. January of this year alone in the United States, again, I'm going to use the United States, there were 47 mass shootings. 47 mass shootings. That means that more than one person or two or three were killed. Senseless. This is right here in the United States, 47 mass killings. 100 dead from that 47 mass shooting. This was just January. That's how many lives somebody took. That's how many lives that were taken. 100 lives that should be alive today. Somebody chose to take those lives. 47 mass shootings. That's just January. And then they wounded, about 124 people were wounded. And this occurred in a school. 47 mass shootings. One of those occurred in the school. So there were a total of 124 wounded. Shooting at one school, mass shootings total was 47. This is just January. Just January. Then when you go to February, we had 36 mass shootings. People, think about this. Now, we're talking about mass shootings. That means that person really, those people wanted to kill as many people as they could. As many. Now, by whatever reason, for whatever reason rather, they were not successful to kill more than they killed. But in February, there were 59 deaths. 59 deaths from 36 mass shootings. Think about it, my brothers and sisters. Somebody decided, today I'm going to go and kill. I'm going to find somebody. Maybe because I'm angry about something, then I just go and take a life. Remember, when you do something like that, you're no longer in control. Your mind is gone. Your mind is gone. Your mind is convinced that there are no repercussions for what I'm going to do. It's just going to help me get over whatever I'm experiencing. But like I said earlier, if you kill somebody, if you take somebody's life, just because nobody found out who you were, doesn't mean you're free. You will be haunted because you made a decision that you have to live with for the rest of your life. Doesn't matter where you go and escape. 132 people were injured in February in the United States. 36 mass shootings. And this one of them was also in school. Think about somebody deciding to go to a school and kill innocent kids. Think about that. This is what's happening in this country. And that was in a school. In March, there were 44 mass shootings. 54 people were killed and 165 were injured. There were only 11 total days that in America in March that there were no mass shootings. Only 11 days. In February, 13. January, 9 days. That's just constant killing. Constant killing. Then you have in April, you have 45 mass shootings, 43 people were killed, 203 were injured. In April, there were only 7 days that there were no mass shootings. There were no killings. Only 7 days in April. In May, there were 53 mass shootings. And mass shootings are, like I said, when there are more than one or two, more than one person killed. So in April, there were 45 mass shootings, total 43 dead, 203 wounded, a total of 7 days. In April, only 7 days they didn't have any mass shootings. In May, there were 53 mass shootings, 62 dead, 211 were injured. Only 12 days did they not have any mass shooting. In June, there were 78 mass shootings. 77 were killed, 381 were injured. Only 7 days there were no mass shootings. In July, there were 69 mass shootings, 78 dead, 311 wounded, 4 days free of shootings. August, just this past August, 60 mass shootings, 54 dead, 228 injured. And one of those shootings was in a school. There were only a total 5 days where they didn't have any shootings. September, just recently, as you well know, there was a shooting in Georgia, and 4 kids were killed. 4 people were killed. It's 2 kids and 2 teachers. Now that's just They haven't compiled everything. I'm just talking about Georgia. This is where we are. There were total, think about this, there were 432 mass shootings in the United States. 432. 527 dead. 1,755 were injured. 3 of those shootings were in a school. And there were only 68 days from January to September, well, January to August, that there were no shootings. Think about that. Think about that. How in the world are we calling ourselves? How do you call this nation a religious nation when I'm not talking about shooting game. I'm talking about we're killing human beings. We're taking lives. What in the world is causing us to be this way? Now, there's a possibility that it's innate. Violence is innate in human beings, but society is supposed to control all that violence. Why is society failing? Why is society failing? The prevalence of gun violence poses a significant threat to public safety. I don't know about you. Sometimes I don't know. There are places I will not even go. I used to love going to. I'm a movie buff. I love to go to movies, but I don't go anymore. I don't go anymore. The only way that I can get comfortable, and many people like me, is the reduction of access to firearms, particularly for individuals who may pose a danger to themselves or others. I don't understand why that's such a big deal. Why is it a big deal? To create a safer community. We don't need everybody work. I'm talking about AR-15s, I'm sorry. What is that for? That's a military. That's for military. But we got kids walking around with AR-15, and the gun lobbyists, NRA tells us that's okay. The more guns we have, the safer we are. That's not true. Public safety requires that we reduce access to firearms. It's just common sense. It doesn't mean you can't have your guns. It doesn't mean you can't have your guns for protection. For protection, there's a difference. But a shooting spree because you're angry, because your boyfriend left you, girlfriend left you, for the most part, it's young men that are doing this. Let's look at the mass shootings and see who is really doing that. How are we raising our boys to think this is okay? Very few women are engaged in mass shootings. What is the difference? What are we teaching? Parents need to pay attention. The young man who killed those 4 people in Atlanta, was 14. 14 years old. Parents need to, if you have to own a gun, lock it up for public safety, for God's sake. Lock up the guns. Lock up the guns. Don't make your children have access to them. When they have access to them, they'll use it. And besides, here's the problem with all of that. You make your guns accessible. These kids play these games that are based on violence. And sometimes they want to enact that violence in the present. They take those guns just to see how it feels. Some of them don't even understand the consequences, that death is final. They don't understand the finality of killing somebody. When they're off their rockers, they don't understand that. It helps them to satisfy some kind of urge or curiosity or misdirection. Parents need to understand. Don't make those guns available. Don't make those guns available. And our leaders, the leaders of this country, the leaders world over, they need to understand that it is important. The only way a society can really grow, can achieve what it's supposed to achieve, is when the citizens feel safe. When you can't go to a movie, when you're scared to go to the grocery store, when you have to inhale and hold your breath, because you're going into the grocery store. When you have to look around you because you're going to the mall, you're checking out to see where do I jump if something jumps up. When your children have to learn where to hide, how in the world can they learn? They can't learn when all they're focusing on is the possibility of some crazy kid or adult coming to their school and killing them. So many children dying as if the people with these guns, they think they had a gun range or something. We have to also offer mental health support. See, mental health care in some cases is very expensive, so people don't seek it. But if you want to make something free, make mental health care free. The government should make mental health support free, so people don't have to pay for it. Because many people who are committing all these crimes, they don't have that. These kids, they don't have money for it. I think mental health care should be at school. They should go to schools and talk to these kids. They should make it a priority. As a matter of fact, it should be part of everyday discussion in a school. It should be every day. And if kids need to go to see a psychiatrist or psychologist or whomsoever, it should be free. Because if these kids understand, now I'm not saying you're going to solve everything. Some of these kids have parents who are so enamored by guns that you can teach them at school, and then they go home and they have to live with these parents who just adore guns. So it becomes a problem for them. We've got to do something, people. The safety of there is no future when the kids are dying, for God's sake. And I'm not talking about one or two. I mean, these kids, they're taking 19, 15, and you keep counting. They're just taking lives. And you go to Africa, the same thing. Some of these people, they think it's macho that they're carrying all these guns, AK-15s, and they just shoot. They go to villages and just shoot. It has to be a priority. We have to mentally change. It's not about going to church. That's not it. Because a lot of the people go to church and then ask for forgiveness. We're talking about prevention before you actually do anything that you're going to ask for forgiveness. We must provide every resource. The government must. Society can help individuals in crisis before they resort to violence. And if a child reports to the teacher that she or he is being abused at home, take that seriously. And the other thing is that young people themselves, they create the environment for such violence by bullying. When you bully somebody, when you make somebody feel that they are useless, that they're nothing, they dread coming to school, but they're obligated to come to school. Otherwise, they'll be accused of truancy. You can't be bullying your fellow students. Leave that alone. If any kid maybe doesn't meet your standards or whatever, they have the wrong clothing or they don't talk funny or they're different race from you, leave that alone. That's not your business. Focus on your schoolwork. You are creating these kids, some of these schools of mental suffering for a lot of kids. There are kids who don't want to go to school because they are literally tortured. Even some teachers tease kids because of their inadequacies. Those are the kinds of things that they should be talking about all the time. Be kind to each other. Idinotu. That's what that is. Idinotu. To be one. We are one. What you don't like to feel about yourself, don't inflict someone else. Don't inflict that on somebody else. Because everything has consequences. If you are teasing another student, you may push them to the brink because you don't know what they're going through at home. When my kids were kids, that is one thing you never ever want your teachers to say to me, that you're bullying some other kid, because I would spank you good. Yes, I said it. That's one thing I never tolerated with my kids. You do not stress other children. It's not fair, because you don't know what they're going through. So mental health support is so important. And those kids who are complaining about being teased, teachers, parents, pay attention. These things, you are opening it up, because guns are everywhere. And if people don't have any means of changing their condition or changing their environment, with all these guns everywhere, they think that's the way to solve it. And of course, the gun lobby doesn't make it easy. The leadership of the country, because they are bought and sold, quite frankly, by these gun lobbies, these gun NRA or whatever, they don't care. It's all about the next election. It's all about, who's going to give me money so I be reelected. Power, power, power. You've got to at some point have some moral. Something about you has to scream no. Something about you has to scream enough. Thoughts and, well, every time this thing happens, somebody says thoughts and prayers. What is that? Thoughts and prayers. Somebody's gone. Somebody has lost their child, their mother, father, favorite teacher, whomsoever. And all you've got is thoughts and prayers. You've got to do better than that. That is not enough. You can have your guns, but please, not the war guns in the streets. We got to take the the guns designed for war off the streets. What's the point? You got when somebody's shot with an AR-15, nothing is left. What? Why would you want to do that to another human being? Why is that necessary? Why does a gun like that satisfy anything but show pure, unadulterated evil? That's all that is. We have to make education. We have to educate and create awareness. We have to talk about gun safety to the young people in school, because believe it or not, it's sad to say, but a lot of these shootings are by young people, by young dissatisfied or disaffected, whatever terminology you want to use. We have to make them aware of gun safety and responsible gun ownership. They have to understand that, because, and then again, I don't know that there's anything you could do about this, but some of those games, one day I just said, let me, because I knew this is going to be a topic. So I looked at some of those games, and which is something I usually don't do, but this time I wanted to see what the young people are playing, the games that they're playing. Oh my God. Nothing but brutality. And we're surprised. How in the world are we surprised that the kid? What kind of civilization is this? We need to redefine civilization, because of all these things is not conducive for civilized behavior. It's not, really. It's absolutely not conducive. You cannot define what's going on as in these countries. There are some countries right now that you can't even, people own guns, but for years, no killings, because they don't have AR-15s in the streets. They have hunting guns, and they use it for that purpose, to hunt. Here we've gotten so paranoid, we're just so sure somebody's coming to get us. We have to protect ourselves. Okay, if you have to have guns, be a responsible owner. So we need to be educating. There should be classes, workshops being held to educate, promote awareness about gun safety, both at school and wherever else we're going to. When you go to these shooting ranges, They need to have those educational opportunities first before you hand them a gun for them to go and learn how to shoot. Learn responsibility first. We have to have these community programs that will focus on conflict resolution as well. And non-violent communication. Show you're angry. Back in the day when two men were angry, they used their fist, they boxed it out. And the one that's not bloodied is the is the winner. But the objective was not to take the life. This is what we do now. Now we're going to take the life of the person. Taking lives doesn't solve anything. All it just says is that you have an issue and you don't know how to deal with your issue. Education and awareness is so critical. It's so critical. And then, of course, we got the issue with legislation. We need legislative action. The leaders of this country and all countries must implement stricter gun control laws. There's nothing wrong with that. Doesn't mean you can't have your gun. But if we have like universal background checks, waiting periods, those are important. And restrictions on high capacity magazines. Because those things are not designed for love and joy. They're designed for violence. The worst kind of violence. Unless you are at the battlefield, there's no need for you to have these high capacity magazines. This is so important. Emotionally, we're becoming very scarred. We're becoming extremely scarred. The community has to stand up to the leaders and let the leaders know that they have to do something. They have to do something. You know, we keep voting people into office, and when something happens, all that we get, every time something bad happens, we have some prayer. We have to communicate. We have to communicate. We have to create an opportunity for people to learn the importance of non-violence. If you're a spiritual organization, you should be preaching that in church every single day. Every single Sunday. You should be preaching to the congregation. Politicians don't care because of power. Parents don't, even parents don't even know what to do these days, because when you chastise a child, they bring child protective services. So sometimes you don't know what to do. But if you bring a child into this world, you better prepare that child properly. Teach that child what they need to know. Violence does not solve anything. For many of you out there, you have never shot anybody. You have never shot anybody. Oh my God, girl says, this is why I'm planning to leave the USA and I'm teaching my children to stay away. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? They are actually, that's right. There are countries that are telling their children not to go to the United States because of all the gun violence. But that doesn't mean that all the gun violence is only in the United States. It's here, it's all over the world. But in the United States, it's a bit too much. It's too much. It's just way too much. And the citizens need to start demanding. They need to start demanding that their leaders, you're voting these people into office and they're responsible for your safety. This thoughts and prayer, it's not going to work. You have to start demanding, and the citizens need to start going to these meetings where these leaders gather. Show up there. Don't complain about what they're not doing. Show up. I had the opportunity to go right in Georgia and went to one of those sessions where they're discussing gun control and all that stuff. You know, I thought there would be more people there to air their opinions. There weren't as many as should have been there. You know, the politicians were there. They were there, but the citizens were not there to air their grievances and air their concerns and put their feet to the fire. You know, this country is so. Yes, I agree. People are desensitized. Guns and killing somebody. I mean, when you see a dead body and you walk past it. I was watching a show the other day, and that was real show, real live, where the kids were looking at a dead body and they were all picking at it. And they said, "Ooh, oh, he's dead. I know he's dead." And they're kicking at it to make sure. Desensitized. Death means nothing. People don't understand the finality of it. But we are all responsible. We cannot just talk about what's being done when we can do something. You have to ask yourself, what can you do? What role can you play? In what way can you participate to make a difference? Every day we say nothing. Every day we do nothing. We're setting up for the next one. If you think what happened in Atlanta is all of it, no. I shouldn't be smiling, but I'm letting you know. Because nothing is being done, we're being set up for another one. And another one, and another one. Did we have them last year? Did we have them the year before? It's still going on and on and on. It's so critical now, my brothers and sisters, that we, the citizens, play a role. We have a responsibility to make sure that we engage. Community involvement in crime prevention initiatives can empower residents to take an active role in reducing violence. Wherever they are discussing that, be there. And there's some things that we can do, neighborhood watch programs and community dialogues. All of this fosters a sense of responsibility and cooperation. We need to know that we are part of the solution. And if our leaders are not going to do something, when we are meeting at these programs, when we're having dialogues and we're demanding, and if you know those people, here's the tragedy. Those people who give you thoughts and prayers, you're going to end up voting for them again. Yes, because all we see is, oh, I'm a Republican, so I'm going to vote for a Republican. I'm Democrat, so I'm going to vote for a Democrat. I'm an independent, so I'm going to vote for an. We don't even know what they stand for. Before you vote for anyone, find out their thoughts about gun control. If you do not know that that person really is paid by the gun lobby, and here you are voting for them, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything to stop this madness. We also need to find out the root causes. There are some systemic issues that contribute to violence. Obviously, we know that. Poverty. I got a call the other day from a woman who was living in a hotel, and she was desperate. She was threatening doing harm to herself. She didn't have food to feed her kids. She just wanted to check out. The frustration was just way too much. Can't feed her kids. She doesn't know how long she would stay in the place because she just gets a little money here and there begging. But this is in the United States. When such a woman does something bad, she'll be in the newspaper, and we're going to talk about this person doing this and doing that. But situations cause people, systemic issues do cause people to do the wrong thing. And so we ordered her some pizza. so she can feed her children that day. And we called around to find out how can we help this woman. She said she was in the hotel. And so I was able to get some people who said, okay, we're going to send her food. We're going to do this and do that, help her, call upon her and see every day, call to her every day and see, have they eaten, what's going on. And she said she didn't have transportation. I mean, the woman was just at her wits' end. But the unfortunate thing is that when I called again to give her the good news that we're going to start sending food, she was gone. She never responded. Nothing. She told me her room number, went there, she was gone. She was already kicked out. So when such a person out of desperation does something bad, the whole society will say, oh, poor woman, she did this and that. Poverty can make people do bad things. So we have to look at the root causes of some of the reasons why we're so angry, so frustrated that we do some senseless thing. So tackling these systemic issues can contribute to violence is important. Inequality. Inequality is the other thing. You have a situation where we are paying more taxes than the wealthy. And yet the wealthy, they use everything that our taxes pay for. The roads, utilities, whatever. But we are paying more than they are. So inequality, or you find individuals because of their race or their gender or their sexual preferences or whatever are discriminated against. That inequality, when you can't get housing, you can afford it. Just think about that. Many of you know that you can't get housing unless you have 3 times the income. Who are these housing being saved for? Not people who desperately need it, but people who have the money. If you have to make 3 times the cost of the rent, you're going to be homeless. You're going to be angry. You're going to be frustrated. That's inequality. People don't look at it that way a lot of times. But I can tell you many apartments that are empty because people can't afford to move in because they don't have 3 times. If the rent is $2,500, you got the job, you can pay $2,500, but you have to show that you make 3 times that. That's inequality. Lack of access. It creates lack of access. Then you have lack of access to education. You have lack of access to jobs. Those things frustrate people. So as much as we need to remove the guns, and I'm talking about the AR-15s and those high capacity guns, we don't need those. Doesn't mean you can't protect your family. You'll protect your family, but you don't need AR-15s. So we need to get rid of those things. Somehow, I'm not a politician. I don't have the clout to do any such thing, but I certainly can speak my mind. Access to education, access to jobs, all those things if you don't have access to those things create a lot of anger, a lot of frustration. Particularly when you're praying and praying and praying. I know some people who pray and praying from morning to night looking for a job. When they can't get that job, then now they're mad at God. They're mad at Chineke. How come? I've been praying to you. I've been praying. Lots of frustrations cause people to do so many things. So we need to create an opportunity for people to have access to education. Because in this country, you have to have education. In most parts of the world, you have to have the education for you to move up. And jobs. Oh, and jobs. When you don't have jobs, they tell you there are lots of jobs. Yes, they are. But in some places, without the education, you can't get those jobs. So access to education is very important. So people can get jobs that are meaningful. I'm not talking about these little jobs that pay you $7 an hour or $10 an hour. That's not going to pay for your mortgage. That's not good. That's the kind of job that you have when you live in your mother's basement. And some people pay that, but they have to work three or four. I paid that, but they have to work 3 or 4 jobs. That's bad. So we have to create long-term change in the lives of members of our society for things to go better. Holistic approaches that address these root causes can help create a more peaceful society. You can't save the world, you can't save everybody, you can't do for everyone, but you can start somewhere. One angry person is one too many. If you can get an angry person to calm down, somebody who may decide to just take it out on the rest of the world, if you can solve that problem one person at a time, you can do that too. If you can help anyone that you know is not there mentally, that's something you must do. Sometimes we have to swallow our pride when we see that somebody, is going through something and we think, oh, they deserve it. Nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves anything but good. That's what we want Chineke to do for us, good. We want to see other people doing well. So if you're not a politician, then go and see where the politicians sit and tell them how you feel. Go to these meetings. Have dialogue. Call. You can call the Congress. You can call the Senate. You got senators that represent you. Call them and let them know you're concerned. Thoughts and prayers is not going to do it. We don't need thoughts and prayers anymore. That doesn't help. Now, there's been talk about gun buyback programs, and people are freaking out. Oh my goodness. But it's a good idea. Because what it does is it reduces the number of firearms in circulation, particularly high-risk areas. You know that a lot of high-risk areas, that's where people carry a lot of guns because it helps them, they're very, very angry a lot of times for the reasons I just mentioned to you, not having jobs, not having access to education, all of that, inequality, all of that sort of thing, and of course, lots of poverty. Those areas, that's where you have a lot of guns. They can incentivize individuals to surrender unwanted firearms. They could do that. If you don't need them, don't have them around, because even the wrong person, the children in particular, can grab it and go and use it and do what we're seeing, killing other kids. My God, my God. And these parents are losing their children, and all we hear is thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers. My thoughts and prayers go with you. What does that mean? My child is not coming back. Someone else is going to lose their child the next day. Those kinds of things are not enough. Buyback here in America, some of the politicians are now talking about it. Kamala Harris is talking about that, gun control. That's good. I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear somebody who's not telling me about thoughts and prayers. I want to hear somebody say, let's do something. That's what I'm hearing her saying. Even the gun buyback programs, those are important. Look at who you're putting in office to represent you. What are they saying about your safety, about the good in your life? What are they saying? It is so important that we put the right people in office, because when we don't, we pay the price. We pay the price, and it's not going to get any better. And also research and data. We need to invest money in research to better understand the causes of gun violence. It's worth it. It's worth it. So I'm going to take a quick break here, and I'll be back. So give me 1 second, and we're going to take a quick break, and we shall return, and we'll just talk about why it's important that it doesn't matter who you are. We should always do whatever we can to minimize hate. Yes, stop hate. I just wish, OMG said, I just wish we could stop killing each other. You know, we stop killing each other when we see the humanity in each other. That's the problem. We don't see the humanity. We don't realize, sometimes we don't realize that the person, we say in African spirituality, Madubuchi, we're God to each other. When you start respecting another life, that's when you understand that through that other person, possibly, your life can be made better through somebody else. But we are so focused on individuality, me, myself, and I, communal thinking that our ancestors were involved in, engaged in. Onye wita, onye wita, you bring, I bring, we are rich together. That is not the concept. We have adopted the Western mindset. I will kill you to protect my thing. People would even kill to protect the stupidest thing. They will fight over a glass of water. They will fight over a bottle of Coke. They will take a life for something that inconsequential, because the value of human life is not a priority. It's what can I do for myself? What can I do for myself? We don't see, yes, Stephanie says, we are interconnected. Yes, we're interconnected. You know, I have to tell you, and you probably feel the way I do. I find myself sometimes, if I haven't spoken to someone, if I've gone days and I haven't gone to see someone, I have to get out of here and go see somebody. Because we are social animals. We need each other. We need that conversation. We need that, sometimes we need that validation. But when we are focused on just me, what is in this world just for me, we start to see people not from a spiritual perspective, not as somebody who's worthy of my time. I can get rid of you. Don't come to, I mean, just even property, you draw the line, the red line, you know, this is my property. You don't come here. I've seen somebody set dogs against a man for daring to come into their property. A man who's trying to find his way, he's lost. He went to that property to ask for directions, and they set the dogs on him because of land. I mean, because he stepped into your property. Not even to take the time to ask, hey, what can I do for you? Why are you here? You just assume that that person is out to harm you. Yes, OMG, yes, because Western culture is narcissistic and sociopathic in nature. I'm sorry to say that, but that's true. That's true. This is not for us. We need to share that African way of life with the rest of the world. Don't leave your brothers and sisters behind. Don't hurt your brothers and sisters. We are God to each other, because only through each other do we get blessings. Chineke's blessings. What do you want? What do you want to see? Do you want a happy community? If you want a happy community, you've got to work for it. You have to work for it. You can't have a happy community when you're not willing to do those things that will make and create a happy community. No man is an island. If you doubt that, go live on an island by yourself. Before too long, you'll be praying for humanity. You want to get off that island and hear other people talk and see other human beings. We are social animals. But because of what indoctrinations that is happening, all around us that we are inhaling, we are inhaling violence and exhaling that. As what you bring in is what's going to come out of you. If you're surrounded by violence, individuality, just me, myself, and I, trust me, this is what you're going to find. This is what you're going to gravitate toward. Me, myself, and I. So anybody who comes into your space, you don't want them there. Oh, don't let them not look like you. Don't let them not be from your community. Don't let them be a different gender. We find reasons to hate. But that should not be the way we should live our lives. And because of all this violence, we're bringing violent tools into our lives. Daggers. What do I need a dagger for? Daggers, knives. I mean, the more violence the instrument, the more we want it, the more we pay for it. So we can use it against our people. We can use it against other human beings. At some point in African communities where there's so much violence, we need to think, what are we here for? What are we here? What is your purpose here? If you knew that your purpose in this world is to make other people's lives better, your life is better because other people are better. We say, Akum dero bani. Akum dero bani. My wealth lies outside of me. We base wealth, not how many cars, not on how many cars you got or how big your house is, but how happy your community is. See, if you're a rich person and you have angry neighbors, I don't know how long you'll be rich. You have to put a fence around you, because there's always somebody in the hood that's going to want what you have if you're not willing to share. I'm not saying don't be rich. I'm not saying don't be rich. It's good. I mean, if you earned it, that's what you do. That's what you do. But just understand, African spirituality says, Akum dere opani. For those of you who don't speak Igbo, I'm trying to share that with you today. Akum dere opani. Learn that Akum dere opani. My wealth, my joy lies in my community. Because if my community is happy, I'm happy too. I'm not happy because I can't go to the movies like I want to go to in my community, because I'm scared of all these unhappy people who will pick a gun and come and shoot the place up. You can't go to the grocery store. Some of you, you don't. And that's the sad thing. You're just minding your business. You just want to go pick up milk. The situation that happened, I think it was in New Jersey. People went to the store just to pick up milk and pick up something for dinner. They never came home because some angry white man just decided that he's just gonna kill folk. I don't like black people, so I'm just gonna kill them. We need to, in this country, begin to promote a culture of peace. We have to change the culture. We have to change the paradigm. We have to create and promote a culture of peace. Be careful who you are voting into office. If a person is not interested in promoting a culture of peace, you will never find peace. Remember, you have everything to do with what your community looks like. Either you share what you've got, or you make sure you put people in place that share your values. We need to create a culture of peace. There's no peace in this country. Too much sadness, too much anger. People calling each other names, assuming things about each other just because somebody said. You don't even have to find out yourself. Somebody said it. I heard, I read. Everything you read on the internet, it's not always true. People throw things in there. And then some of us go and read it and say, oh my goodness, this must be true. And then what do? We act on it. We have to shift to a value system of nonviolence, peaceful conflict resolution, peaceful conflict resolution. How do you do that? We need to really, as spiritual people, we need to really evaluate what we are saying spiritually. What are we learning spiritually? See, when you convince people that there's a place that you go to at the end of your days, the violence in the afterlife that we teach, even that fear of that violent afterlife could even cause people to do the wrong thing, to become violent. In African spirituality, we don't say that there's anywhere that you're going to burn forever. Instead, what we say is, Uwam Uwasa. You have 7 opportunities to come back and refresh your spirit, to rinse out what you did in your prior life and become a better human being. Reincarnation. If you didn't get it right the first time, this is what we believe in. Whether it's true or not is irrelevant. All everything is to guide your conduct. That's the purpose of it, to guide your conduct. If you didn't get it right the first time, you get it right the next time. Uwam Uwasa. I got 7 opportunities to get it right. So you keep trying. And here's the thing that we believe in: once you get to be age 80, that means you've gone through your 7 times. Is it true or not? That's not the point. The point is that your conduct is guided by your belief system. And if that belief system makes you do the right thing, then it's the right belief system. But if your belief system is based on condemnation of other people, it's not a good thing. So the value system that requires you to do good by your fellow human beings, but keep trying, no violence. If you didn't get it right, I got 7 opportunities to get it right. So keep doing good, because once you hit the age of 80, now you're an ancestor. Other people start calling your name during libations. Is it true or not? Who cares? What it is that is our belief system. And it helped us in the past before the coming of the strangers on our shores. We believed in all those simple. Now, I'm not saying, culture is dynamic, times change. But there are some things about who we are that if we reenact it into the present, we'll be better off. There was never a time that use of violence like that was acceptable. Yes, we had wars and all that stuff, but you have to ask, what were people going to war for? To expand land, to expand resources. They even they'll even take other the victims of the war and bring them to their village to increase the number of people in the village. They didn't have no AR-15s. The idea was not to blow up your head, blow up your heart, blow up every bits and pieces of you. When if they take you, you can come and expand their village for them. There were other reasons why they did what they did. But the point I'm trying to make here is the value system was not that of mass murder. It was not that let's find what we can do to kill the most people, like we're doing now. We have no culture of peace in this country. In a lot of countries now all over the world, we don't have a culture of peace. We need to change people's attitude towards the use of guns, violence, the use of violence to solve problems. Even in families, people kill each other. They had a man, he was angry because his wife cheated on him. So because your wife cheated on you, instead of us talking about it, okay, let's talk about it. Why? How did this happen? Why did this happen? There's a reason for it. I'm not making excuses for her, but there's a reason for it. You can, if you did not have this attitude of violence as a means of problem resolution rather, you wouldn't have to go and kill her. And then after killing her, you went and shot her mother, her brother, your two kids because she cheated on you. Oh my God. There's so many cases like that. You're angry. I can't feed my family anymore, so you kill them. There has to be a change, the way that we deal with each other, the way that we solve problems. Our value system in this country has got to change. Attitude towards guns must change. This can't continue. And then the other thing is we must collaborate with each other. Yes, we can identify who we are. I'm African, you're Asian, you're this, you're Latino. Yes, we're different. But I tell you one thing, we have to learn to collaborate. We have to learn to collaborate. There's no reason why we can't survive with each other. There's no reason why we have to hate to the point of just, you see a black person, you just want to kill him because you don't like black people. Or there's a white person, I just got to kill him. Or I don't like Asians, I just got to. I mean, those kinds of things are contradictory to spiritual health. If you ever get to the point that you feel that you're the only one who can survive, you're crazy. There's a reason why we're all here and we're all different. You have to value who you are, certainly. A person who doesn't value who they are can't value anybody else. So it's important that we value who we are. But my God, don't value yourself to the point that you don't think other people have the right to value themselves. That you got to go out there and just, like the young white kid that went to the church because he knew black people congregated there. And when he was picked up, the police gave him hamburgers. It's as if he didn't kill people. That's how much hate he has for the other. And yet, there's no way we can survive without other human beings. The difference, the diversity is the beauty of life. The need to go and extinguish lives using guns, it speaks heavily about not just society, but that person has serious illness and needs help. But we never find those people until they do what they do. That's why it's so important that we go to schools, we talk to these kids, we have to address the root causes of all these problems. We have to help people you're not going to be able to solve everything. That's not even reality. You're not. Pardon me. But the bottom line is we have to try something, for heaven's sakes. We can't just do thoughts and prayers. We don't need all these guns in the streets. We need to get rid of them. We need to talk to each other. We need to collaborate. Collaboration is not death. It's healthy. It's good for the mind. Listen, finding out about other people will not kill you. What it does is expands your horizon. It expands your knowledge of life. You need to be able to go beyond the safety of your humanness. When I say your humanness, I'm talking about who you are, in your race, your community. Go beyond that. Enter the unlimited world of possibilities of others. See the life. Why do you think people get on the plane to fly somewhere outside of their communities? Because there's a life out there. There's some things to discover. The word is for us to discover, not to butcher, not to kill because they don't look like you. They don't think like you. They don't embrace your thoughts. There's a reason why we have diversity. And if something goes wrong in your life, there's got to be a better way than using gun to kill. It's the finality of killing somebody. Some of these people don't, because of the mental health problem, they don't understand the finality, or maybe they do. In some cases, I'm sure, yeah. But a lot of them, particularly the kids that are out here killing, because we live in a culture of violence. Culture of violence. An eye for an eye. Do me, I do you. God no go vex. You do me, I'll do you. The person who's doing you, maybe they're not together. You don't have to do them back. Maybe you can help them. If you're angry about something, using a gun shouldn't be the only way to resolve it. I mean, okay, I'm preaching to the choir. We know you, everybody on this forum today, you know. But this is what it means to have dialogue, to talk about it. Like this. I'm so afraid of the fact that before you know it, here we go again. Here we go again. Who's going to be killed next? Who's next? We have so much anger and frustration that we're doing the wrong things. I'm going to play a song. This song is talking about why it's important to, if you're going to work, if you're going to be angry with someone, be kind. When you're angry with someone, be kind. How you relate to, how you share your anger, I'm going to play that and then I'll be back.
Were obi nwayọ, were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma, were obi nwayọ, were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Asị na mmadụ niile ndị bi n'ụwa ga-anụ ihe, ha ga-anụ ebe Chineke na-ajụ. Ọ bụ gịnị mere ume n'ụwa jere ibe ha iro, ebe ya bụ Chukwu kere ụwa dị mma. Were obi dị mma, nwayọ na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Asị na mmadụ niile ndị bi n'ụwa ha ga-anụ ihe, ha ga-anụ ebe Chineke na-ajụ. Ọ bụ gịnị mere ume n'ụwa jere ibe ha iro, ebe ya bụ Chukwu kere ụwa dị mma. Were obi dị mma, nwayọ na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Asị na mmadụ niile ndị bi n'ụwa ha ga-ahụ ihe, ha ga-ahụ ihe ọma niile Chukwu kere. Ọ dịghị onye ọbụla Chukwu si na ọka ya mma, ọ dịghị onye ọbụla ka ibe ya mma. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke. Were obi dị mma obi dị mma na-eto were obi nwayọ were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke were obi dị nwayọ na-eto Chineke nwayọ were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke a sị na mmadụ niile ndị bi n'ụwa ha ga-anụ ihe ha ga-anụ ebe Chineke na-ajụ ọ bụ gịnị mere ume n'ụwa jere ibe ha iro ebe ya bụ Chukwu siri ụwa dị mma were obi dị mma nwayọ na-eto nwayọ were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke were obi dị mma na-eto nwayọ were obi dị mma na-eto Chineke.
Kindness. Asị na mmadụ niile ga-ekwu eziokwu. If we can just speak the truth, anyị ga-ahụ ihe ọma niile Chineke kwuru. We will see and hear the Most High, Chineke, asking, why are you hating on each other when I created this marvelous world for you to inherit, for you to share? So that's where we have to be. That should be our value system. The willingness and kindness towards each other, the willingness to share, and be brothers and sisters to each other, and get rid of all the violent instruments. They don't serve any purpose but take other people's lives. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and I'm going to share some of the comments that I have here, and then we can just talk a little bit about them. First of all, Stephanie, thank you. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. The warning signs I ignored in some instances. Yes, the warning signs. I think what happens, obviously, is, like we said earlier, if we're so focused on self, we don't see other people having issues that perhaps we can be the ones to address. Is that the answer to that? Not necessarily, but it's a possibility. We have a tendency to just, or it's not my business. We have this tendency of not wanting to get involved when we see things going on. But then in African spirituality, we say, don't leave your brother or sister behind. Check on them. My village, when people are hungry, we have you go to the village, you see these vines where they hang all these different food, so that the poor can go. They don't even have to ask the farmer. The farmer just hangs all those foods, fruits, vegetables, all sorts of things, and yams and cassava, cocoyam, all of that. And if you're hungry, you just go and get it, because they understand that we're in this battle together. And we should, if I have it and I can share it, then I would have to share it, So yes, there are instances that we don't pay attention until it gets out of hand. And like I said, in those communities, they don't let it get out of hand. What they do is they see it and they go after, they do whatever they can to get it resolved. Let's see. JVST, Ndewo. Hey, do you know what Ndewo is? A lot of Nigerians think Ndewo means greetings. It does mean greetings, but it also has a deeper meaning, and that is Ndo, long life to you, which is what you're wishing me, and I wish you the same. Ndo to you. Ndewo. Let's see. The comment from OMG. She says, people are desensitized in this Western society. Yes, I talked about that earlier. It's very true. Very desensitized. It doesn't matter. I mean, we can see something that it doesn't even involve a gun. I was watching where a man with crutches is trying to go up the escalator and couldn't do it, but everybody's just walking past him. He's trying to go. You could see that he has a need, but, not my business. So what could have happened? He may have fallen and hurt himself, but it wouldn't have mattered because too many people were going past until one person saw, the need and helped solve it, So we need to get in the habit of looking around, like Stephanie said, we should not ignore what we see. The warning signs are there. Or you find a child who's being bullied. That's really a warning sign. You know, when a child is being bullied, you really need to listen to that child, because that child may take matters into his or her hands, for the most part, his hands, and go and do these things and do all these killings, because nobody's paying attention to him. You know, sometimes the parents are convinced that the child is problematic, you know, it's not doing what they're supposed to do, and the child is trying to say, well, things are going wrong, this is what's happening to me, but the mother or father wanting perfection, and the child is not paying attention. And so if the adults will not take care of it, this kid will take care of it in the only way he understands best, you know, out of anger. Like this little 14-year-old, you know, he was teased. I don't make excuses for him, but he had that problem. And there's so many of them that way. You have a lot of these young kids who are not sure who they are. They're not sure if they're gay. They're not sure if they're straight. They're not sure if they're whatever they are. I mean, there's so many kids in conflict, and nobody is helping them. So this is how they let it all out. So we need to pay more attention and see. This is from OMG, because big companies pay big money to politicians to keep these firearms. That's right. Even these, and you see, here's the tragedy of this: having politicians who don't care. These politicians don't care because you know what? They are children in the environments that they are protected. If these kids, if some of these politicians, if this hit home, they will do something. But a lot of them, they are paid by the big companies, you know, to keep muzzle this problem, and they do that. But a lot of them have children in an environment where they are not, they are protected. So these shootings sometimes don't impact them, you know. And I pray it never does. It never does. But they need to handle it for those people who unfortunately may fall prey to this kind of violence in the environment where there's a lot of violence. Okay. And I would say this to white parents, because a lot of this mass shootings, I'm talking about mass shootings, black parents, some of y'all are letting these black kids, little kids, kill each other. So we know that's going on. But these mass killings also, for the most part, is little white kids. White parents need to take the time and talk to their children. Pay attention to your children. Be careful what you're saying to them. They're absorbing it. Be careful when you're teaching racism. When you're teaching racism, that's what happens. When you're teaching violence, that's what happens. I'm not saying, before anybody gets mad at me, I'm not saying all white parents are doing this. No. I'm talking about, watch what you're doing. If you're prone to anger or disparaging other races, be careful. There's a young person listening, and they may just take it in their hands to go and carry out what they're learning from you. You may not do it, but they will do it for you. This is important. We need to, if you have guns, lock your guns up. Just lock the guns up. If you must have them, lock them up. Teach your children how to use guns if you have guns in your home. The importance of being responsible gun owners, and for the most part, lock it away. Those kids have no reason to have access to it. No child should have access to guns. No child should. But these big companies like OMG said, yes, they pay for it. They give them big money for their election. When they run for election, for office, they give them money so that they'll shut up about it while they make money. This is from Stephanie. Stephanie says, yes, gun availability, desensitized by horrible movies. Yes. Oh my God, yes. News showing so much wars, compassion for only one side, mostly. I hear you. That's true. I told you I watched one of these games that the kids watch. I could not believe what I was watching. You know, if that's entertainment, the more violent the movies are. Did you know, before you take your child to go and see a movie, find out how it's rated. If it's rated R, for the most part, there's violence. You have to ask yourself, some of these children, their brains are not ready to accommodate what they're seeing. Sometimes they don't even understand that that's just entertainment. They don't understand the finality of such violence. What kind of games? Because every Christmas or birthdays or what have you, we're buying all these PlayStation and all that stuff, and then we're giving them all these games to play. If you're the one who bought your child a game that involves a lot of murder, killings, and all that, what do you expect him to do? He may want to try it out. So we've got to be careful. Don't ever, this 16-year-old received an AR-15 for his 16th birthday, because at age 16, you can own a gun. What? And the father was shocked that he used it? What did you give it to him for? To go and shoot animals? When he's watching these games and then you give him a gun like that, he's going to try it out. Parents are responsible for some of these things. Sorry, parents. You have to take you have to take responsibility for what's happening. And yes, there are no boundaries, and parents do not parent their children, and politicians do not care. Our government is ineffective. True, they're very ineffective. They don't care. They absolutely do not care. This is why I'm planning. Yes, we talked about that. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's very scary to have your children here, and this is what's happening. You don't know if your child will go to school and come back. I was watching there was a young woman on TikTok. She was crying because she was sending her child to school, and she was so petrified that the child may not come back home. And she wouldn't let the child go. She just kept hugging and hugging and hugging, and tears were just pouring out. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being that fearful that your child may not come home? That's horrific. That's horrific. You see, so we must do whatever we can to bring down this whole, this gun ownership. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will stop here today. I want to join you all for joining us today. Thank you, Stephanie, my dear, for being here. I love what I see you doing with I hope I'm saying it right, Habasia. You're doing such a wonderful job with that program and farming and all of that. I think we definitely need a lot of farming in Africa. Thank you for all you do. Thank you all. OMG girl, thank you for joining us today and your contributions. We really, truly appreciated it. And something that Stephanie said, once the election is over, we have to continue to lobby to our legislators to make differences. Yes, big changes. Yes, we can't let go. Just because we maybe the person we want gets in office doesn't mean then, we can just go relax, because what's going to happen tomorrow, we'll start complaining they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They said they were going to do. Well, you have to hold them responsible. You have to hold them responsible. If they didn't do it after you voted them into office, then now you have to hold them responsible. So that's a wonderful thought. And again, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I am going to say thank you for joining us. And I'm looking forward to having you next Sunday. We're going to have all the three or chargers. UD Onyoha will be with us next Sunday, and so will Chedozie Okoro and Obi Onyoha will join us. So there will be, and then another gentleman that I'm trying to get him to confirm from Uganda. So we'll see who's going to join us But anyway, I want to thank all of you for being with us. Um, and like I said, please join us next Sunday. Thank you, OMG girl. Thank you so very much. And hi Basia. If I'm not saying it right, forgive me. I'm going to make a donation to your program because I think what you're doing is really a good job. So look out for, I don't know, send me information how to send you donation for your project. I appreciate that. Anyway, again, thank you everyone. Thank you for joining us, and we will do this again next Sunday. Thank you. Bye bye now.